Morning and welcome, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquint, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number 800-951-0592. And the phones have been active this morning. We've got gold and silver popping this morning. The Dow, I told you yesterday I was going to be down 1,000 points. I was wrong. It's down 1,150 points. Dow again today. Just give me. Get ready to keep hearing it. Down, down, down. As inflation eats away at companies' profits, the economy is slowing. We've been continually, listen, I've been telling you exactly what's going to happen. But you got to be ready for it. This is a big day, especially in the gold markets. We want to close above 1830 right now. Gold's 1845, up almost $30 today. So it looks like we're going to do that. And that's going to set us up again to go higher once again. Silver's having a strong day as well. Silver, not quite where I want it to be. I want to see silver close above 22. Right now, though, silver 21.90. We had economic data out today. We had jobless claims out today. Existing home sales out today. And Jason, I'm going to tell you this. We've been wondering about housing. I've been hesitant to say I think we're going to have a significant housing pullback. Today, I've changed my mind. I think housing is going to have an absolute significant pullback. I don't think there's going to be a ton of houses to buy because nobody can move. The problem is you're going to have to lower your price if you want to actually sell it. And that's going to be a pattern I think we're going to see here because sales are absolutely collapsing right now.
Hedge funds that bought entire neighborhoods are starting to panic as housing market crashes seem imminent. This is one of the things I watched yesterday, Joe. It's right on this guy just went right into, hey, what are the big buyers doing? He's like, they want to keep on buying these neighborhoods, but they do have investors, BlackRock and Vanguard and these big companies. If the big players that support them want to pull out of housing, boy, Joe, it could be really bad.
Well, and here's the thing. Remember, and I said this, and I've been telling you, a couple of different things about rising yields. Number one, by the way, interest on the debt. And you think about it, we're not even at 3% yet. Interest on the debt hit an all-time record in April. And every time those interest rates goes up a point, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars added to it. But here's the other side. Think about it for a minute. Why was BlackRock and all these other big companies, why were they buying all these houses? And the answer was simple. Go back a couple of years. The 10-year note was yielding like 0.5%. They're like, wait a minute, we could buy these houses, put a little money into them, and make 5 or 6 or 7%. It was a great business model, better than buying a treasury. Well, now as these yields rise, where are they? And think about this. Wait, yields are rising. Now prices are starting to fall. If rents start falling, all of a sudden, do these guys start saying, you know what? Hey, let's not buy anymore. They may not sell any. I don't know. But let's not buy anymore because guess what? Now all of a sudden, after we fix it up and we got to pay the management company, we got to deal with people not paying, and we got to fix the roof and the water heater and this and that. Hey, buying a 10-year note, and let's just say the 10-year note, maybe we get 4 or 5%. That certainly seems like, well, hey, you know what? I'd rather take that because guess what? I don't have to worry about someone not paying. I don't have to worry about a flood. I don't have to worry about fires. I don't have to worry about roofs or air conditioners. I don't have to worry about anything. And I think that is going to be the tipping point for the housing market.
Well, Joe, when the Ukraine war started, what did we stop talking about? What did everyone, when it comes to economic news, we stopped talking about Evergrande and China. Now, if you don't think that a lot of the money inside of BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, if you don't think a lot of that's coming from foreign countries, then you're kind of foolish. And so, hey, if you're dumping properties in China, at some point you're going to dump properties that you own all over the world, including America, Joe. That these big companies start dumping houses, Joe. You could see housing prices, crash 25 to 50% really quickly.
Yeah, and already we're seeing the number of houses, existing home sales, down again the months before. This is an April number. April sales are supposed to be picking up. March, April, May, right? That's the heart of buying season, if you will. And they went back and said, hey, by the way, March wasn't as good as we thought. February wasn't as good as they thought. The numbers keep driving. First-time home buyers now, barely over 25% of the market. That's way below historical averages. By the way, home prices and mortgage rates were sharply higher. The home price, believe it or not, this may be the peak. We'll see. 391,000 was the median home price. That's not the average price. So the average price was probably higher than that. The median price, you take the highest home sold in the country, the lowest one in the country, and you meet in the middle. 391. By the way, that's only up 14.8% year over year. So that number is starting to come down. Remember, that number was up in the 20s. Cash sales. Yeah, that represented more than 25% of the entire market. Kind of tells you, though, that's those investor guys. We'll talk a little bit more about what's ailing the housing market. Jobless claims keep going higher, just like I told you they would. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason here. And again, I've been telling you all along, there's no soft landing here. That's not happening. The economy's been slowing. I've been telling you it's been slowing. This isn't going to be one of these, it's a mild recession. No. Doesn't work that way. This is going to be something where, we'll use the financial crisis as our guide, because that's the most recent, right? Not very many people still alive when the Great Depression was happening, so that's not relevant, right? We only know what we read or we're taught in the history books, which really isn't actually the history, but neither here nor there. The financial crisis, we'll talk about, I guess, the housing collapse. Remember the subprime problem, and then of course the collapse financially. They were able to save it with all of this spending. Just look at the Fed's balance sheet. Let me give you a good example. It was about $700 billion in 2007. It's $9 trillion now. The money supply was roughly about, what was it, Jason? About $4 trillion.
Yeah.
It's now almost $20 trillion. Right? So they saved it through massive debt. And this doesn't count all the underhanded stuff the Fed was doing that they didn't tell us about, right? Propping up all this stuff. This time around, think about what they're trying to do, right? We're trying to get rid of all that money we created. We're trying to lower that significantly. This is stagflation. This is going to be a depression with inflation, because at the end of the day, Jason, the Federal Reserve is stuck. I mean, they could go back to zero, which I think they're going to. We're going to go back to zero. The problem is all that pumping they were doing is no longer going to be viable.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, and talk about houses. I mean, I'm looking at CNBC, for example, talking about how applications, to get a mortgage are up 2% recently, this last month. But the ARM loans,
applications are actually, that's not true at all.
Well,
applications,
even if we pretend,
now, they were up 2% from April to May.
Let's just pretend that they're right just for a moment. If these ARM loans are exploding. These adjustable rate mortgages, just like the early 2000s, Joe. The people that are trying so hard to get people into these expensive homes that now we got the adjustable rate mortgage, right, Joe?
Yeah, you're going too fast for me, Jason. Let us get there, right? So let's look at these cash sales. Let us get there. Cash sales. I just told you, hey, 26% of the market. That sounds excessive. It's actually down, right? Who are the cash buyers? They're the investors. So slowly, you got to remember, this is an April number. The investors are leaving. To Jason's point, they're talking about the increasing numbers of buyers trying to opt for this 5-year adjustable rate mortgage because they can't fit in. And this is one of those things that really is starting to worry me, because if the cash buyers keep falling, let's just say cash buyers go back to a historical average, which is about just under 20%. That's a big problem. And now all of a sudden, remember what killed part of what killed the housing market the last time was these adjustable rate arms. And again, I think inflation is going to be so high. I don't know. And I said it. I'm going to take it back. Can the Fed go back to zero? I don't know if they can if inflation's still 10%.
I don't think so either, Joe.
I think they may just give up the fight, right? Hey, we're not going to keep raising rates because we're already going to be in a recession, and they're going to say to try to avoid a depression. I think it's really unavoidable. You know, the number of homes for sale have climbed 10%. Now, granted, it's still low, but it's climbing, right? So that just means, hey, guess what? They're not going as fast. By the way, sales dropped. And this is the one that got my attention. They dropped in the South and the West. When you look at housing in this country, it's led by the South and the West. Why people want to live in warm places, right? And so to see that happen, Jason, I think it's really indicative of a slowdown. Remember what the home builder said yesterday. Hey, we are slowing the pace of the houses we're building, and some of them are already saying, you know what, we might be talking layoffs here in the next 30 to 60 days in the housing market. I think that's how slow it's getting, Jason.
And, Joe, it's not necessarily about the home buyer when it comes to the game of getting people signed up for homes they can't afford them. It has, I think, a lot to do with the competition of the banking market. I mean, if you're a middle-sized bank, don't you want to be the next J.P. Morgan or the next Wells Fargo? You want to climb that ladder. So it's kind of a game of hot potato, and I think they're selling these ARMs and these bad loans, and I think the ARMs are being sold this way, Joe. Hey, we have history to look at. You know, hey, when things really get blown up, they're going to drop the rates back to zero, and then all these people, they're going to survive those ARM loans, and then the rates are going to go down, and think about how happy they're going to be about the loan you gave them. But you're right, Joe, if the inflation keeps going, they're going to keep raising the rates, at least for a while. They're going to shake out a lot of small banks that are going to leverage themselves too heavily, Joe.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know that they can. This is slowing down much faster than they want to be. Wall Street is sending you a very clear message. The retailers have just been getting absolutely hammered because even with the raising of the prices that they've done, it hasn't been enough. And the downgrades, this is going back, this is reminding me of the market in 07 and 08, where every day there's 10 or 20 big companies being downgraded. And it's not like, hey, we're downgrading them 5%, you know, and all that means is a company says, hey, the price target for, and let's just say Target, right? Price target was 100. Well, we're now saying the new target, right? They're not saying 95 or 9. No, they're going, hey, new target 60. Right? Cisco Systems. They're a big tech company. They're the ones that have all the components that go into all these servers and all this data collection, which you would think is, hey, that's one place that's booming, it's there. Disastrous earnings this morning. And more downgrades in these markets. And then the Wall Street Journal this morning, that far right-wing publication, subprime borrowers once again missing loan payments. And they're saying that consumers with low credit scores falling behind payments on car loans, personal loans, credit cards, right? And this is the start of it all, Jason. We're now seeing all of a sudden a big jump in these people, the most vulnerable, right? The people at the lowest end. Hey, you know what? I can either put gas in my car or I can make the gas payment or the car payment. I can't do both.
Yeah, Joe, it's interesting when you talk about China's lockdown probably coming to an end soon, and when that happens, the gas prices go up even further, and it almost, kind of quasi-lockdown in America, because how many people are going to travel around when gas is $6.50 a gallon? You're almost making a COVID lockdown without the COVID being here.
Without the COVID, delinquencies on subprime car loans and leases hit an all-time record high. Think about that. Going back, and by the way, Equifax says that we started tracking this in 2007, and guess what? It's worse now than it was then. And again, this is just the start. All of these signs, and I keep bringing them out to you day after day after day so you can get ready, so you can prepare. Listen, we got a gift of that gold sell-off, the dollar. Oh, look how strong the dollar is. We're raising rates and we're going to talk tough. And don't worry, look how strong the consumer is. The consumer's not strong. Layoffs on the rise. Home sales on decline. People missing payments. Not only are they rising, according to Equifax, they're rising at a significantly elevated pace from what they would deem to be normal. And Jason, this is just, all of these signs added up together. You guys know what's going to happen. Listen, we're going to raise rates until the recession starts, and then I don't think they're going to have the ability necessarily to go back to zero. I think they're just going to give up the fight, though, Jason, right? I don't think they're just going to stop raising.
Yeah, Raul, I agree with that, Joe, and also, this gold's going $30 up now. Congrats to the guys about those $10 Liberties yesterday. I know that we didn't get as many buyers as I wish we had, but I don't know what our special is today, Joe. We didn't talk about it before the show, but you got to get in when things are, here's the thing. I heard one guy say, Joe, well, stocks are going down and cryptos are going down, and I'm worried about housing going down, and I see gold going down. I'm just going to hold on to my money. I was like, why would you do that? When, in December of 20 versus now, you probably lost 30% of your purchasing power. Why would you do such a thing? You're losing on your dollars. At least if you put it into something that is solid and hedges with inflation. I mean, gold's up from last year.
Gold went down. Give me a break. Gold went down for 2 weeks.
Yep, it's hardly nothing.
Give it a rest already, right? It's the only thing up for the year. I mean, think about it for a minute. And again, but this is what people, it's part of the new media thing. All they think about is what happened over the last week or two, right? And that's a hard way to do it. I'm telling you where we're headed, and it's not good. You know what? The Philadelphia Manufacturing Index, employment was at 41. It's now at 25. Right, things of that nature. When you see those things, it really starts looking pretty dismal. The outlook for the next 6 months fell all the way down to a 2. And these are things that the manufacturers say, hey, listen, yeah, all those jobs we said we needed, yeah, we don't need them. And what do I think about the rest of the year? Yeah, don't think it's looking so good. And this is very commonplace. This is what we're seeing pretty much across the board. And again, once again, we lived in this 2-week fantasy where Jay Powell, they raised rates half a point, said, don't worry, Dad, we're not doing 3 quarters, and we think there's a path. Yeah, there's a path to a soft landing, right? And, of course, all the paper guys, oh, yeah, right? They get all excited. And then all of a sudden, and what did I say last week? I can't wait till this is over so we can get back to focusing on the actual economic data. And when you do that, when you actually focus on the economic data, it tells you to do one thing: buy gold. That's what it tells you to do.
I think some of that sell-off yesterday, I'm thinking some of those guys might have put it in that gold, Joe, because I mean, it's a very strong day for gold, and the markets are still weak. I mean, the S&P is now pushing below 3,900, so it's yeah, they're like we said. We ended the show yesterday. It starts slow, and then suddenly all at once, right?
Well, and again, like I said, it's the economic data that is really driving the markets today. Jobless claims, another high here. This is, I don't know what, 5th or 6th week in a row. I mean, they're still low. It's still only around 220. But, man, it's starting to jump 20,000, 15,000 week after week after week. Patriot Radio News Hour, halftime. Come back if you can take it. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Gold's up 32, 1847, almost 1848. Excuse me, choking again. I don't get an old socks. Can't even talk and breathe at the same time. Silver up about 40 cents here, 21.93, Jason, as once again the economic data not good, jobless claims rising, margin pressure, Cisco Systems. You know, Target was down 25% yesterday. Today, Cisco down 20%. The day before that, Walmart down 10%. These are how big the misses are on the bottom line for these companies.
Right, Joe, and you know the way the stock market works is it's supposed to be it's supposed to show how the actual companies that are in there are performing. If you have one company that has bad performance, it's supposed to go down, and you have a company that's doing really well, its stock goes up. But when you have a situation with a central bank and a fake debt money system, you can manipulate this thing, and we've seen this manipulation go on and on and on, and they didn't fix it after the housing crash, Joe. They made it worse, and this is I guess this is the reward for too big to fail, I guess, right?
Yeah, I don't want people to understand. The financial crisis is the good measuring stick. They didn't fix it. Matter of fact, they set it up to punish us. And I wish people would tell the truth so you would know. The central bank is not our friend. It's never been our friend. They pretend. They love pretending. And doesn't the mainstream media, you know, the debt pushers, don't they love to pretend about how, the Fed is trying to help us? No, they're not. No, they're not. They're trying to help their system. And so what did they do? They changed the rules to punish us even more the next time. Just understand this. The next time, which is what's coming next before we get the digital currency. Because all as they did, instead of fixing it and facing the pain and letting these banks go under, they blew the bubble even bigger. Think about what they've done from 2007 to today. Right? Balance sheet. Not even $1 trillion. $9 trillion. What was the debt in 2007? 10 trillion? Something like that. We're now, 31 trillion-ish, give or take? And now we have this massive inflation where they allegedly need to, we need Paul Volcker again. Everybody out there listening, you know, wait a minute, if we do that, everything's done. It's over. The bubble collapses. And this time, you're going to be left holding the bag. And if you have at least some of those resources into the gold and silver physically, not paper gold, not paper silver, you physically hold it yourself, that part of your wealth is going to be, not only is it going to be protected, it is definitely going to be worth a whole lot more than what your paper investments are worth. $20 gold today, $21.50. And listen, that was when gold was up like $15 this morning. So it's going to be higher than that tomorrow. Brittany just told me this is it. This is the final call on those half-dollar rules. Listen, this is a $30 savings on half-dollar rolls at $240. So on the silver side, the best buy, those half dollars at $240. On the gold side, $20 gold at $21.50. It was a big technical day for gold, above the resistance level, if you will, which now is setting gold up to continue the rally and make those moves as Wall Street. Not only does it continue to crumble, there's something else that's happening in the bond market. We haven't really talked about it. Do you know the 10-year note is yielding down to 2.8? Right now we have the 5-year and the 10-year yielding the same. Jason, we're getting ready to start talking about the bond yield curve inverting again, which again, when it does that, right, when that happens, that means the bond market is saying we see recession coming. And remember, we had it before Jay Powell. Oh, they wanted to believe all his lies, and it went away. Now it's back again, Jason.
And we're in a recession already. We just don't have that official number. That'll be what, July? I guess we'll get that, Joe, and we'll see the official definition of. Well, yeah,
I think Q2 will get enough of a bounce that it won't be negative, so we can say that we avoided it. But like Goldman today, Goldman Sachs saying all of a sudden a huge spike in the consumer credit data, maxing out of credit cards. They're saying that Goldman says this is going to lead to a credit-fueled problem where all of the purchases have been put on the plastic, and that we are going to have a spending collapse in the second half of 2022 as the credit cards get maxed out, Jason. And we're starting to see it, right? The weakest, the subprime, the people with the worst credit, Wall Street Journal saying, holy smokes, the people that stopped paying their automobile payments and their credit card payments spiked significantly.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see. You're probably going to be right, Joe. But, I mean, they weren't expecting a down quarter for the first quarter. So, I mean, could the information be wrong?
And again, some of it is, and I'm being optimistic, some of it has to do with just the numbers and how things get counted and stuff. You know, again, they manipulate everything so much. But even having said that, it's not like we're going to come out, oh, we got 5% GDP growth or 3%. I mean, if we stay above it, it's going to be by a little bit, and mostly because inflation was so strong. And again, I want to reiterate the retail Kohl's today, another disaster. The retailers are saying, listen, I know you're saying 8.5 or 8.3%. That's garbage. It's so much worse than that. Most of these companies, most of them, are meeting the revenue targets. And their stock's getting crushed by 20 and 30% because, hey, guess what? The margins are gone. Right? We're not making the money we thought we were going to make, and all of Wall Street is having to readjust to that. And the problem was they only got there because of credit cards. When the credit cards are maxed out, the sales, now the problem is, and what Goldman's saying is, hey, guess what? In the second half, we think sales are going to go down, and the margins are still going to be down, and it'd be that double whammy. Patriot Radio News Hour. Get that gold and silver put away. 800-951-0592. Jason and I are coming right back. Oh, boy. Here's in Sri Lanka, which has been ravaged by riots and no fuel is now urging its citizens not to wait in line for fuel any longer. Sri Lanka said that it was down to its last days of fuel, saying they no longer had money to buy fuel and to buy crucial imports, and are unable. They missed their debt payment in April. This morning, that debt payment went into default. So the 30-day grace period ended yesterday. Sri Lanka was unable to make that debt payment and says they're unable to even buy fuel. Jason, this is the start. And again, remember, the Biden administration yesterday said, hey, you know what? We're done allowing Russia to make their debt payments. Their next debt payment is due on the 26th. This could really, really start roiling these markets here, because as these lower tiered countries, these third world countries, Sri Lanka's just the first. A lot of these countries, Jason, are not going to be able to service those debt payments because they don't have the money.
Sri Lanka is starting to have food riots, and there's a handful of countries that are having food riots currently. Not going to happen. They're starting. So Sri Lanka, not only, it's funny how the fuel shortages turn into the food riots, Joe, and Yemen's good. Yemen's a really good example. They've been blockaded by Saudi Arabia for years now. No fuel in the country, and they're starving people in that country, and so no fuel, no food. So Joe, we'll have to dig in a little deeper and make sure I can get that list of those countries. And, there's videos you can go on YouTube and you can look at the videos of people just smashing through stores and stealing everything in there.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, and you're like, well, what do you want me to take out of that, Sri Lanka? Why should I care about Sri Lanka? And the real issue is the debt bubbles are starting to burst, whether it's here in America with the subprime and the lower credit scores. You look at these third world countries the same way. They're the subprime, if you will, of the world. And now, all of a sudden, hey, we've got the first default, the first of many, and it's that perfect storm. Hey, the banks, well, we own a piece of Sri Lankan debt. We own Yemen debt. We own whether Argentine debt or Peru debt, and we also own subprime auto loan debt, lease loan debt, automobile debt. We own housing debt. Right? All of a sudden, all of this debt stops getting paid, and it's a big problem. And that's what's happening. We're starting, and again, it's just all of these signs. They want to pretend that it's not, but the realities are, and I say this to people a lot lately, trust your instincts. We got a NASDAQ that's down 30%. The S&P is down 20%. The Dow Jones is down 17% to start the year. I'm sorry, gold, okay, it's only up 2% today, but gold's been up 10, 12% all year long. It's going to continue to well exceed and outperform what's happening in the paper world. And all of these indicators are telling us, these are things that they let us know ahead of time. Trouble is coming. I don't know that the Federal Reserve even gets to 2% before they're forced to lock on the brakes. But I just don't think they can go back to zero. And the problem is the expansion of their balance sheet, which is all stuff I thought was going to happen. They're going to go back to zero. The balance sheet's going to go even. I don't think that's an option because inflation's going to be so high. It's just going to be this vicious cycle, Jason.
Yeah, hold on tight if you get an adjustable rate mortgage for the rest of 2022, Joe. Yeah, you get in there, it's like, yeah, the guy told me that it's going to go back to zero and we'll be good, right? And Joe, that could be painful.
That is a scary thing. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Median rent. Did you see this? Median rent might go over.
One of the problems with the adjustable rate, and I want to throw this out there as well, but let's just say I'm wrong, and you know what? They're that dumb. We'll go back to zero. If the house loses value, Right? You're not going to be able to refi. If a house, let's just say you bought a house for $500,000 and you didn't put a lot down, you got an adjustable rate mortgage. We had a mortgage broker on yesterday, said, hey, you can buy a house. There's programs out there that let you do it for about 5% down, and if you're doing adjustable rate, you're trying to save that money. Well, all of a sudden, if that $500,000 is only $400,000 or $375,000, you're not going to be able to refinance. They're like, no, we're not going to refinance it. So it's a dangerous thing. I don't like that we're seeing that because I just look at that as another sign that we got trouble ahead, Jason.
Yeah, if you do get an adjustable rate mortgage, make sure you get a nice low floor for if you can survive out the back of this thing. If there is a chance that at some point they go back to zero, then here's the thing, Joe, you get the adjustable rate mortgage, but if you sign a bad one, your floor might be 3 or 4%. So it won't allow you to go down very far. So
we'll have to wait and see how all of that works out. Hey, here you want a little truth? With Esther George, she is the Kansas City Federal Reserve head. Yeah, Kansas City Federal Reserve head. She said that the central bank is watching stocks and paying attention as to what they're going to do with interest rates. What do stocks have to do with interest rates? Nothing, right? They don't want to watch the inflation because guess what? Inflation's telling them, you guys are way behind the curve. The stock market's saying, my gosh, we can't take very much more of it. Get ready. I think it's all going to happen. Patriot Radio News Hour, final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Gold is up 27, 1843, 1844. Silver's up 33 cents here, 21.86. By the way, crude oil was down yesterday, higher today. The Dow is down again. It's off its lows right now, but still down another 100 points. $20 gold, $21.50. The last day on silver, $0.50 at $2.40. Now, I hope this next article, I hope. This is just a company wanting to be way over prepared. The gas station chain 76. The one, the big orange globe, the 76 sign. They announced yesterday that they are in the process of reprogramming all of their gas pumps to accommodate a $10 a gallon fuel price, Jason.
I think they're doing that for a specific reason, Joe. We're not that far away for diesel. It seems like it's far ways away.
I guess, California, a lot of California's already in the sevens.
So. Yep. They're in the 7. I saw that oh my gosh, the county. I saw the whole thing. The county in California, they're $7.15 and $7.20 a gallon.
10. No thanks.
Everybody's leaving California for a reason. Who wants to be the lead on that one? Hey, we have the highest prices. It's coming your way. Look, it's highest here first. So,
Well, and just like that, now the Dow's back down 200. Man, it's moving pretty quickly here.
It's very erratic, Joe. It's been up and down all day. It's been really moving up and down. Who knows where it ends up.
The bigger news of the day today: Cisco, horrible earnings in tech. Kohl's, another terrible retail number, and then jobless claims rising again, now 220,000, and then the home sales numbers, once again, the big thing, first-time buyers disappearing, cash buyers slowing. And that's kind of the one. I'm more focused on the cash buyer because the cash buyers, you know what they say? Hey, if I think I can wait and buy it for less 6 months from now, they're going to wait, Jason.
Man, yeah,
they don't care about rates. I'm a cash buyer.
That's right.
I don't care if rates are 3%, 5%, 8%. I'm buying cash. If I think I can buy this home for $50,000 or $100,000 less 3 to 6 months from now, I'm going to wait.
Right, Joe, and I was just looking at this thing. Median rents are expected to pass $2,000 this summer. I mean, that's probably for apartments, I'm thinking, right? Holy cow. I remember renting an apartment for $500.
Rents are so expensive here. It's crazy. And what you get for it, it's less and less. And of course, we talked to death about the apartments and all these other things. But the cruel part is, it's one thing when it was just rent, gas, insurance. Now your cell phones, right? You got new charges coming on your cell phone bill, car insurance. All the major insurers said we were raising rate, and they have to. They said, listen, cars are more expensive. We got to charge a lot more. Everywhere you turn, everything's just run. Well, this is why. Look at what Goldman said. People are running out of money. Wall Street Journal, people are running out of money. It's going to be a tough second half of the year. 800-951-0592.